it does really hurt to lose somebody of this stature. It does really hurt to lose somebody that I knew and that I worked with and whose personality was so remarkable and his faith was so remarkable and his talent was so remarkable. This one does really hurt, and it hurts because we're losing lots of people lately, and it just feels like it's an era of fashion that is, I don't want to say over, but it's losing some of its color and it's losing some of its flair when we don't have leaders like André still on the scene and commenting about, who's doing what and who's doing what well, talking about what's going on in society, what's going on culturally, dismantling of systemic racism. I mean, these were all things that André believed in and fought for. And I do think this one really hurts. It just, we all suffer when there is loss, but I think to lose somebody who was such a figurehead for so long in the fashion industry is and such a revolutionary in a way. And just considering all that he faced, all the difficulty that he faced, all the racism that he faced, I think really does speak to an incredible strength of spirit and a real beauty of soul. Working for André was my foray into the fashion business. I assisted him at my very first job, which was at Vogue. He was the creative director at the time, second on the masthead, and such an incredible force, such an incredible talent. And I always tell the very funny story of the fact that he was doing a shoot with Herb Ritz, and we were getting all sorts of props, and it was a Chanel couture story, and he wanted all of these camellia pins, all of them, very special, made for this one show, and there were 13 in the world, and I got 12 of them. And I could not find that last camellia. Couldn't find it anywhere in the world. Called every Chanel store. We had everybody at Chanel trying to find this camellia. And at the end of the day, I wound up making it myself and trying to fake it. And if he knew, he never said a word, but we had all the camellias we needed for that shoot. He was an incredibly generous and kind spirit. I remember he brought me back an outrageous outfit from Alaya when he had been at the Paris shows that was half, stretchy sort of sweater fabric and half fur, fake fur. I sort of looked like a Christmas tree in it, but really it was the thought that counted. And he was larger than life, literally. He was 6'6", and he wore these, amazing suits when I first met him. And then, he developed this kind of incredible persona with the capes and the caftans. And, he was just over the top. He used to say things like, beyond the beyond. And I thought his compliments and his analysis when it came to talking to designers about their collections was really quite something. He was a fashion historian, bar none, and he could really talk about fashion and collections and designer inspirations in context of history, which was really quite remarkable. He was an incredible writer. He was so astute, and he opened the doorway for so many people to follow him, both in the LGBTQ community and in, the communities of color, people of color who felt completely ostracized by, a predominantly white industry. And he made such an impact, and he continues to make an impact in, look at what happened since. I mean, now we have Edward Enninful as the editor-in-chief of British Vogue. He opened the door for Edward to make the kind of impact that he's had in fashion. He was the pioneer. I think that he's done, so much in terms of what his legacy will be in fashion, but most important was really driving diversity in this industry. And I think that there are many young, LGBTQ or people of color or both who will benefit from the fact that André really paved the way for them. That he could rise to such incredible heights, that he could be not only so talented, but so powerful in the industry, I think really speaks to, so much of what he is leaving behind. It's not just his incredible styling or the, magnificent stories that he did for Vogue or all the other magazines that he worked for, but I really do believe it is the legacy of people who are now able to be in fashion the way they never were before. Um, and, when we talk about what is happening in our culture, he really had his finger on the pulse. He was a visionary. And I think what he leaves behind is the opportunity for more people and more diversity to be seen in this industry, which is essential. He had a real precision to the way that he wanted things done. I have never seen anybody ask me for, Arabian thoroughbreds in a short amount of time, to find them in a short amount of time as Andre. I can't think of any other stylist that I ever worked with or editor that I ever worked with that was so precise and demanding about his needs for photo shoots. But at the same time, he was just so incredibly generous. And he was kind in a way that I think really came from being an outsider to begin with. And he really understood, certainly, I was 21 at the time, how to make, a pretty scared girl who wanted to be in the fashion world feel like I belonged there.